This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, a coroner says a Czech tramper who died while hiking the Routeburn track 3 years ago probably died of hypothermia. A Central Otago beekeeper has installed monitoring equipment in 6 of his hives to see which ones work hardest. And Rangiora High School's land-based studies program is giving pupils from a non-farming background a taste of agriculture. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Simon Anderson. A coroner has said a Czech tramper who died while hiking the Routeburn track 3 years ago likely succumbed to hypothermia. 27-year-old Endre Peter died near Lake Mackenzie after he and his partner became disoriented in bad weather.
Heavy going in deep snow. A photo of a recovery party making their way near Fiordland's Routeburn track in August 2016, almost a month after Czech couple Endre Peter and Pavlina Pazova got stranded in bad midwinter weather. Coroner Anne Tutton released her finding this morning, saying Peter likely succumbed to hypothermia. Peter's partner survived and spoke at a press conference a short time after being rescued.
The conditions were extreme. We encountered heavy snowfall and low cloud.
After being caught out by darkness and bad weather, they spent a night in the open without a tent. In the morning they were soaked through because of heavy snow, and Peter showed signs of hypothermia as they tried to make their way to Mackenzie Hut.
In our attempt to reach the hut, the tragic accident happened when my partner fell and died.
The pair were caught in a small avalanche. Peter became wedged between branches and rocks and subsequently died. His partner Pazova eventually reached Mackenzie Hut, where she took refuge for the next 24 days.
I made few attempts to walk out from the hut, but my fear and weather conditions and the deep snow discouraged me from doing so.
The coroner said today a police report concluded the couple had embarked on an alpine trek in severe winter conditions, despite seeing multiple warnings relating to weather, terrain and avalanche risk. 3 years ago, following her ordeal, Pavlina Pazova acknowledged the need to be aware of forecast weather conditions while hiking.
Intending to travel in the New Zealand mountains to seek very good information and mainly respect to winter conditions and quickly changing weather.
In Fiordland, the South Today.
A scathing new report says the South Island Neurosurgery Service has never been funded, managed or staffed adequately. The South Island Alliance Leadership Team report pulls no punches. It paints a picture of a service which has struggled to provide adequate neurosurgery services in Dunedin for the past 9 years, and which has major ongoing issues attracting staff to live and work in the city. A massive public campaign spearheaded by the Otago Daily Times in 2010 led to neurosurgery services under threat of centralisation in Christchurch being maintained in Dunedin. The report states at no time had stable staffing in Dunedin with 3 neurosurgeons been achieved. It describes the history as a litany of unfulfilled expectations and early departures. A beekeeper in Central Otago has installed high-tech monitoring equipment in 6 of his hives to see which ones work hardest. He plans to use the gathered data to choose the best queens to breed from to ultimately improve work efficiency and pollination rates.
Central Otago beekeeper Russell Marsh checking on the high-tech monitoring equipment installed as a trial on 6 of his beehives. He's the first commercial honey producer in the South Island to use the technology created by company HiveMind, which includes an infrared scanner at the hive entrance to count bees entering and leaving. The equipment also gathers a lot of other important data on each hive.
What temperature they're flying at, how quickly do they build up in terms of their numbers, and we're obviously weighing the hive to see how quickly they're bringing honey and the correlation between the bee numbers and the yield.
At their peak, beehives can produce around 1 kilo of honey a day, and the various measurements determine which hives are working the hardest. Using this data, he can breed off the best queen to improve his bee stock.
Because we breed our own queens, it gives us an opportunity to selectively choose these ones to be able to say, well, hey, that had a good trait, let's continue to use it.
A probe inside the hive measures brood temperature and humidity, and because each hive is on a set of scales, the changes in weight indicate if the honey is increasing or declining. All this data can be sent to the beekeeper via satellite.
You know, we want to know when there's a problem inside the hive. If the numbers are starting to decrease, we'll be able to pick up if there's a problem and come and see them.
The technology is still on trial with just 6 hives, although Marsh has plans for another 6 elsewhere to compare results. In Central Otago, the South Today.
A house in Southland was damaged in a well-involved fire yesterday. Emergency services were called to the house fire north of Belfast at about 4:20 p.m. Fire and emergency say 4 pumps and 4 tankers helped to battle the blaze, with initial crews from Belfast requesting more crews and resources. When the extra resources arrived, they began fighting the fire from inside the house. They say the cause of the blaze and the extent of the damage wasn't known. The fire was extinguished just after 7 p.m. Rangiora High School's land-based studies program is expanding to meet the needs of a changing world. The school is one of a few in the South Island to have its own farm on campus, giving pupils from a non-farming background a taste of agriculture and offering a wide range of rural-based subjects.
Grassroots education. Pupils of Rangiora High School can choose a part of education which many city kids might never experience.
We operate a 50 acre stretch of land which is associated to the school, very close to the school, so able to bring the students down on a regular basis.
Just across the road really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is just across the road, so in a lot of ways it's like our second classroom.
The farm runs 150 ewes and is busy with newborn lambs. Some bobby calves have just been brought in for fattening. Speaking amongst the sheep in the stockyards, head of land-based studies Gareth West says that students frequently get stuck in, boots and all.
Sure, you can learn about it in textbooks, but until you're out there practicing it, sometimes it's quite hard for the students to understand. So having this facility is just fantastic.
There's a percentage of school families from Rangiora and other small towns who don't have a lot of land around them. He says the program enables them to get hands-on experience and a feel for working in the agriculture industry.
We do a lot of work here that brings the practical work back into the classroom and vice versa. So it gives the students a really good context of exactly how things operate.
West says the farm means pupils with no rural background can get a taste of farming. The farm site offers a range of subjects, from agribusiness to agricultural and horticultural science, as a pathway for those looking ahead to studying at universities or polytechnics.
Anything to do within the primary industries we're really looking to explore, and probably that's the way our programs will head in the future. I know there's been a big push on apiculture, fisheries and things like that. We'll be looking to hopefully integrate a bit more of that.
West says one of the challenges is overcoming perceptions, like farming as a working man's job. He says there's an equal amount of boys and girls in the program, which he says is indicative of the way things are operating on the farm these days. In Rangiora, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today. Local housing stock is dwindling, so prices keep rising. And we interview Dunedin mayoral candidate Aaron Hawkins. See you after the break.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put some colour in your life. Tuesdays, 7:30.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
At Alex Campbell Menswear, we bring you the best value. We have bought a massive selection of moleskins and we're passing on the savings to you. Buy one pair, save $25. Buy two, save $60, and we have a great deal on our knitwear. Look at it all, 25% off all our knitwear. And to go with the knitwear, what about a nice warm shirt? These are 25% off too. And while we're doing the 25% off, what about on the jackets? 25% off them as well.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So check us out for massive savings this winter.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Step into Shop on Carrot and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
No mai anō, welcome back. Dunedin residential property values rose almost 12% in the year up to August. The average house value in the city is now over $460,000. QV Dunedin says a continued shortage of residential housing stock in the city is putting pressure on the market, with sale prices often exceeding market expectations. They say this is causing an upward movement of residential values and achievable rents. Southland had even greater growth, with values rising over 17% in the last 12 months. With Dunedin's Mayor Dave Cull stepping down after serving the city for 3 terms, 14 hopefuls vie to be elected for the role. In tonight's bulletin, OAR FM host Ian Telfer interviews candidate Aaron Hawkins as to why he wants to be mayor and where the chains of office.
Former radio host, now a Green candidate and a 2-term City Councillor, Aaron Hawkins.
Kia ora, Ian. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I'll put your mic on. Fantastic. How do you read the campaign so far? Aaron?
Well, I think the campaign is a referendum on the direction that Council has been heading in, and there are a number of candidates who are broadly supportive of that direction, myself included, but I'm the only candidate who has consistently demonstrated an ability to work positively with staff, and we've seen this morning how important that is, and build broad political support to make progress on the issues that are important to our community. And I think that is the pitch that I'm making. The only candidate who has consistently worked constructively with both elected members and staff to make progress on the issues that matter to our community, and that's what we need to maintain the momentum that we've built up in recent years.
What do you think that means? Is it, with 14 candidates, how do you cut through?
I think it's focusing on the big issues that we are dealing with, which are around transport and housing and our natural environment. And I've got a plan for tackling those issues, but also a strong track record as a councillor of getting the political support required to make those things a reality, because any candidate can promise you the earth, but unless they can demonstrate how they are going to get the 8 votes you need in a council chamber to progress their policy or budget decisions, then it's all a bit meaningless.
Aaron, what's the vision? What's the end game?
Well, public transport should be free. That's ultimately the end game. The transport network is one of our greatest opportunities in terms of transitioning to a low carbon economy, and public transport has to be a part of that. The ORC currently can't delegate the operation of the service to us by law. It has to be run by regional government. So
is that okay?
No, it's incredibly short-sighted. It makes sense in regions where the network crosses different territorial authorities, like Wellington, but not here, where it's essentially contained within Queenstown or Dunedin. Right. So until we deal with that problem, because we talk about car parking earlier, public transport, cycle lanes, that's an integrated transport network that one authority is in control of all of the different moving parts of, and they all do interact
so
with each
to work
other.
well, it has to all be connected.
Absolutely, but also there's a democratic issue in that, of the 12 Otago regional councillors, only 6 represent Dunedin. So even if you got all 6 of them to support greater investment in our public transport network, that's not enough votes to get the ORC to do it. It doesn't make sense that Michael Laws has more of an influence over Dunedin's public transport system than anyone in this room does.
I'm sure he's chuffed, but what will he do with it? That's the question, right?
Well, we've seen what they're doing with it. Not enough.
Well, they're doing some, aren't they? I mean, it has come forward.
It has gotten better, but
we've got a bus hub. We've got a better ticketing system.
They've underinvested.
Yeah,
and you still feel that's underinvested.
Oh yeah.
Right. And fundamentally, it's too expensive. I mean, we've got families in this community who can't access council facilities because it is too expensive.
Well, you get what you pay for, right? So in this case, is it a question of the regional council being forced to spend more? That is, take more from us and spend more on the buses. Is that what you're saying?
Both local government and central government need to invest more in public transport to make it accessible to everyone in our community.
And what does it look like in the end? Is it more buses? Is it something else?
Yeah, greater frequency, greater efficiency. If you're talking about what alternative modes of transport.
Well, I wonder why ferries across the harbour. I wonder why not.
Oh, sure. Well, nostalgia's no way to plan a transport network.
We'll bring you more interviews with various candidates over the next 5 weeks. You can also watch the full half-hour interview on odt.co.nz. After the break on the South Today, it's the end of the season for a top New Zealand curler as she heads straight back into study, and we take a look at the weather.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life, Tuesdays, 7:30.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We're having a massive menswear liquidation. Don't panic, it's not our liquidation. It's Munns Menswear. They suddenly closed 6 stores throughout the country. Munns have left their suppliers dangling and desperate to move large orders. We've come to the party. It's our biggest purchase yet. You can save up to 70%. Yes, save up to 70%. We've got strictly limited stocks at the best deals.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
It's the big one. South Dunedin store. Don't miss this.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, This technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chill.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. For a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Thanks for staying with us. Holly Thompson's curling season ended with a measure of success when she and partner Anton Hood reached the quarter-finals of the mixed curling competition at this year's Winter Games. It was the final tournament for the 21-year-old before she slips back into study mode for the remainder of 2019.
The roar of stones on ice. New Zealand's representative curler Holly Thompson on her home rink in the Maniatoto was looking forward to hometown advantage.
It's great to have a tournament like this at home, so all the family and locals can come watch. It's a great atmosphere, so yeah, it's been great.
She and playing partner Anton Hood reached the quarter-finals of the mixed curling competition at this year's New Zealand Winter Games. And she knows she'll have to be at the top of her game to beat their Australian competition.
Pretty nervous, but nerves are good, you need some nerves. We've played Aussie before, Dean and Tully, we don't know really well, so it'll be a good game, good Aussie-Kiwi battle, but no, I'm pretty excited, but definitely nervous, and gotta have to go out there and play my absolute best to get the win.
Thompson has represented New Zealand in curling since 2013, beginning in the juniors. And now, as a member of the women's team, she juggles curling with her zoology studies at the University of Otago.
Haven't really got any more tournaments for the rest of the year. Didn't put my name forward for the women's team this year, just with study and stuff. So yeah, this is my last big tournament of the year, so it'll be good to get a good finish to the season by getting through from the playoffs to semis hopefully, and yeah.
Like many of her curling peers, she hails from the Maniatoto and has risen through the ranks over the past 6 years. Talking on the ice with playing partners is one of her strengths, and she says her pairing with Anton Hood works well as their different styles complement each other.
We just see a great communication on the ice. It helps that we've been friends for all through high school and stuff, so we know each other well, we know how we play. He's great at his hit shots and I get my draw shots in, so we balance each other out quite well on the ice.
However, the Australian pair proved too good and beat the Kiwis 8-4, which booked them a spot in the semi-finals against Sweden. The United States thumped Canada 10-2 in the other playoff and meet the unbeaten Korean team in the second semi-final. In Maniatoto, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. A coroner has said a Czech tramper who died while hiking the Routeburn track 3 years ago likely succumbed to hypothermia. a beekeeper in central Otago, has installed high-tech monitoring equipment in 6 of his hives to see which ones work hardest. And Rangigora High School's land-based studies program is expanding to meet the needs of pupils from a non-farming background, giving them a taste of agriculture. And now I'll look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. We have Hayden Meikle with us. Hi Hayden.
Good evening, Simon. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you doing?
Very good. Let's have a look and see what news we've got in tomorrow's paper. So we start with Crook Chooks. News today that it is, quote, highly likely that a virus is present at the big mainland poultry farm. That's the huge chicken farm up there near Wakawai.
Oh dear.
I don't know the name of the virus. It's a significant virus, but it's not, if you know what I mean. So it could have a major bearing on the export of chickens and eggs. Has no effect on human health at all. No risk on human health at all. So the farm is under voluntary biosecurity control. Obviously there'll be plenty of concern still from people, but we stress that there's nothing wrong with the chickens, nothing wrong with the eggs. Let's find out more about this virus in tomorrow's paper. Could be interesting. And in other news, another big report obviously is about neurosurgery. So this independent review has revealed some major concerns and major underperforming, basically, of the Dunedin Neurosurgery Service. 9 years ago, I and lots of other people from the ODT and broader Dunedin marched to save neurosurgery services. Lots of recommendations were made in 2010, but not enough of those have been followed through on. So another very serious issue for the city, and Mike Houlihan will be explaining all for our readers tomorrow. The weather, the weather every week, I'm pretty sure we talk about the weather, don't we? Yes, it was a very warm winter, and we've got proof of that. We've got a story on the weather and how warm our winter was. And in sport, we've got a yarn with Hisa Sasangi, the big prop for the Otago rugby team. I think he's bringing up his 50th game. So all that and more in tomorrow's paper.
Brilliant, Hayden. Thank you very much. And now time for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with today's southern view of Princess Esther, the Bichon miniature poodle cross, who's visiting Dunedin with her mum. Looking at the situation, a trough of low pressure rolls over the South Island tomorrow and Thursday, with an easterly airflow developing over southern districts, becoming colder southwesterly from Thursday. Looking at what's in store for the southern towns, expect light northeasterlies and cloudy skies across this region. The Catlins and Balclutha head for 11 degrees, while Lumsden and Gore should both reach 12. Travelling westward to the Central Lakes, you should plan for light winds and cloudy skies. Wanaka and Queenstown, you can expect 10 degrees. Alexandra and Te Anau, you have a top temperature of 11. Looking at what's in store for the northern towns, along the coast, Timaru and Oamaru expect moderate northeasterlies with rain later and 11 degrees. Further inland, Twizel and Omarama are set for light winds and it's rain later for you as well. 10 degrees for you both. In Dunedin, cloudy tonight with northeast winds and an overnight low of 8. Cloudy and cool tomorrow with some rain developing later in the afternoon. Fresh, breezy northeasterlies slowly decreasing, a high of 11 and a low of 8. Mostly cloudy but dry on Thursday with moderate to fresh cold southwesterlies, showers developing after dark, a high of 10 and a low of 7. And moving to Invercargill, fine tonight with an overnight low of 3. Fine tomorrow with sunny periods at first, but high cloud increasing and thickening during the day. It's mild with light northerly quarter winds, a high of 14 and a low of 8. Cloudy and cold on Thursday with a few light showers at times, long dry periods too and moderate southwesterlies, a high of 10 and a low of 7 degrees. And that's the news this Tuesday. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.